the New Year's Eve ball in Times Square, the Big Apple, New York City, USA. We are live.
7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Happy New Year, everybody!
Goodbye, 80s. Hello, 90s.
Headline News, I'm Chuck Roberts. On this New Year's Day, the world's two most powerful people vow to work together to make the decade ahead both peaceful and prosperous. President Bush followed up on a tradition begun by his predecessor, Ronald Reagan, and taped a New Year's Day greeting to the Soviet people. Soviet President Gorbachev again did the same for Americans.
Yo, I'll solve it. Check out the hook while my DJ revolves it.
Crowd getting excited. There's Mr. Mandela, Mr. Nelson Mandela, a free man taking his first steps into a new South Africa. Mrs. Winnie Mandela next to him, waving to the crowds. Hand in hand, they leave the Victor Verster prison. Officials, marshals of the National Reception Committee trying to get the people, and a salute from Mr. Nelson Mandela, his wife Winnie, greeting the people outside the fences of the Victor Verster prison.
Armando! Y Africa!
An ABC News Brief. Now from Washington, Tom Gerald.
Good evening. On Mikhail Gorbachev's 5th anniversary as leader of the Soviet Union, the Republic of Lithuania's new parliament elected a non-communist president and formally declared its independence from Moscow. The State Department is urging the Kremlin to respect that vote.
I'm Lynn Brown. We have an update for you now on that terrible fire in the Bronx. Overnight, 87 people were killed when someone set fire to the Happy Land Social Club in the East Tremont section of the Bronx. It may have been an act of revenge. The governor has given his condolences to the victims and the victims' families, I should say, and he is also promising to help find who set the terrible blaze. Eric Shawn has been at the scene all morning. We go back to him now for an update. Eric?
Lynn, all the bodies have been removed from the Happy Land Social Club behind me. We understand 30 victims have been identified. Pablo Guzman now reports on the tragic fire that started here at about 4 this morning.
Interview with somebody else. Really? Yeah, you don't need this. Do it with somebody else. And have a good time.
Because frankly, you're a very negative guy, and I think it's very unfair reporting. Good luck.
I disagree with you. Sorry you feel that way. There's nothing that we can discuss on the phone, Donald.
The siege of Strangeways Prison in Manchester is over. The 5 prisoners stepped off the roof onto the hydraulic lift they demanded to end 25 days of lawlessness. They knew that the other public platform they'd occupied during the protest was vanishing rapidly as prison officers retook most of the jail. Now the government counts the cost.
For main engine start, T-6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and liftoff of the Space Shuttle Discovery with the Hubble Space Telescope, our window on the universe.
Mission Control, Houston.
All program. Roger, roll, Discovery.
Hello.
Good afternoon. Boris Yeltsin, President Gorbachev's most outspoken political opponent, has been elected President of the Russian Republic. The man who said communism could not be made to work on Earth is now one of the most powerful men in the Soviet Union. One more problem President Gorbachev leaves behind as he flies off to the Washington summit. Dutch police launch a manhunt for the IRA killers who murdered 2 Australian lawyers. The CBI says high interest rates are starting to hit industry's order books. And Princess Anne meets the tribesmen of Soviet Siberia to identify the gunman. And that's all this Tuesday lunchtime. From the 1 o'clock news on the BBC, good afternoon.
You'd actually think we'd won the World Cup, but when the Irish team returns tomorrow evening, they're assured of a hero's welcome home.
A record 2.5 million Muslim worshippers congregated in Mecca this year. Dressed in seamless white robes, they prayed peacefully on Friday at the top of Mount Arafat. This was the most sacred day on the Islamic calendar, and by Monday, many had left. Still, up to 250 pilgrims died in a stampede at Mina, where Muslims go to ritually stone the devil. It's not the first time that the pilgrimage to Mecca has ended in tragedy.
Oh, Mary, this London's a wonderful sight, with people here working by day.
Say a lot for so very little. Call Britain Direct for just 36 pence per minute, off-peak. In homes all over Ireland, the good news keeps spreading. And spreading. And spreading. And spreading. There's only one Dairy Gold, and it's from Mitchelstown. Make it your daily spread.
And tight, singles are sweating so fast, I'm a whiteboard tape. To learn what's gonna take in the 90s to burn the charts. Legit, either work hard or you might as well quit. That's word, because you know you can't touch this. You can't touch this.
Good evening. 4 men once amongst the most powerful businessmen in the country are tonight facing jail sentences at the end of the Guinness fraud trial. At Southwark Crown Court, Ernest Saunders, the former Guinness boss, international businessman Gerald Ronson, stockbroker Anthony Parnes and millionaire financier Sir Jack Lyons were found guilty of conspiracy, theft and false accounting in a scheme to boost the price of Guinness shares to help the company's takeover of distillers.
CNN Headline News, I'm Lynn Russell. 1 + 1 = 1. East and West Germany ushered in a new united Germany less than half an hour ago. Tens of thousands of people, now simply Germans, are celebrating in Berlin on this national holiday. The party is scheduled to last right through Wednesday. All this less than a year after the Berlin Wall came tumbling down. New Chancellor Helmut Kohl and other leaders joined in singing the national anthem. As former East German Prime Minister Lothar de Maizière put it, what for most had been only a dream has become reality.
Wenn wir heute an den Unabend 1989, 90 schließlich in ganz Mitteleuropa. Helmut Kohl gab einen wesentlichen Anteil daran.
The two satellite television companies, Sky and BSB, have merged. The two companies have confirmed that they've been holding talks, and an announcement is expected later tonight that they will now form British Sky Broadcasting. Our media correspondent Nick Hyam reports.
Since the launch of Rupert Murdoch's Sky Television in February 1989, satellite television's pioneers have found it's a license to lose money. Keeping Sky's four-channel service aloft and broadcasting is costing its parent company, News International, £100 million a year. Rival British Satellite Broadcasting is costing even more. Its five-channel service went on the air last April, expecting to spend at least £1,300 million before breaking even. Much of the money has gone on an advertising blitz, as both companies have vied to get the public to buy or rent satellite dishes. But while the number of Sky dishes installed has risen steadily to 900,000, BSB had installed little more than 100,000 of its distinctive squarials by the end of September. Installations slowed over the summer as the recession began to bite.
I just want to forget about it.
It's not just us. It's all the other kids, too. Who's going to be next?